Welcome to Exposed Turnbuckle. This is the Mac Attack, Jeff McMahon, and it is time for Battle of the Brands. We are in the new digs, the new apartment, and we are ready to go. First off, we're starting with Raw, and actually, before I go into anything, what an awful week of wrestling. This was bad. I got to finally be in my own place and just kick back, open a beer, and watch wrestling. And yesterday, I just didn't want. I wanted to watch anything else. I would have turned on the E Network. I would have done anything. Honestly, if I didn't have to do a review on Raw to get out of that show, it just wasn't entertaining in the slightest. But we'll get into that right now. Actually, basically, how Raw was started off with Ambrose saying he was the acting GM. Basically, they were in London, so Kurt Angle didn't make that trip, which is understandable. Why Dean Ambrose is the GM, I don't know. I guess they just based it on the fact that they had an angle last week where he answered Angle's call, and apparently they're just good friends now. Basically, The Miz interrupted him, saying Steph told him that he was the co-GM, so it's just furthering the Miz-Dean Ambrose feud a little bit. Showing that kind of push and pull between those two. Miz ended up going against Finn Balor courtesy of Dean Ambrose and ended up winning, but then Dean Ambrose came out and restarted it and said Maurice had to go back, basically kicked her out from ringside, and Finn Balor ended up beating The Miz. Not a huge fan of it, in all honesty. It was good for what it was, wasn't anything major. A little surprised with how it went. I guess it's just a way for Ambrose to get one up on Miz. Miz ended up putting Ambrose in a match against Bray Wyatt later, and we'll get to that. You had a backstage segment with Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax, where Nia Jax basically said she would be Alexa Bliss's bodyguard if she gets the next title shot after Bayley. Just kind of a way to get Nia Jax involved and give Alexa Bliss kind of a way to have that heel heat. Or not really the heel heat, but like the coward, kind of like similar to Shawn Michaels back in the day when he had Diesel at the very beginning. Just kind of, or even Sensational Sherry, just kind of being a kind of a prick, a little prick heel that won't do the dirty work. So that's kind of seems like what they're going. Alexa Bliss ended up getting the win against Mickie James, which is good because normally the champions lose their non-title matches, as we will see later. Match was so-so. Nia ended up attacking Mickie James afterward once Bayley chased Alexa Bliss to the back. Nothing major there. The Miz ended up planning a Miz TV. Ambrose canceled it, just another backstage segment. Nothing major there. Samoa Joe was cutting a promo. Seth Rollins attacked him, leading to a match later in the night. And that match was probably the highlight of the night. That was a pretty good match, and kind of it did further the feud a little bit. So I enjoyed that part of Raw. Also, then you had Braun Strowman versus Kalisto, but it wasn't really, it was just a way to get Roman Reigns to interrupt, and they brawled. And if you've been watching, Braun Strowman is dealing with a legitimate shoulder injury, or elbow injury, I forgot which one it was. It's a legitimate elbow injury, and they basically did an angle to get Strowman off the television for a bit. This is a big blow to Raw. This has been the best feud they have, and Braun Strowman has been probably the hottest star they have going right now, and this, not having him and not having Roman Reigns on TV going at each other consistently is going to be a rough blow for this brand. So we'll see how they recover, and we'll see if Braun Strowman will be ready for his Universal Championship match. If he's not, I expect to see different superstars maybe put into some sort of a tournament style to get a #1 contender. Probably Finn Balor will end up winning, or Seth Rollins, or maybe they do Roman Reigns versus Lesnar early as a replacement. So we'll see. Hopefully Braun gets better, because I've enjoyed what he's done lately. But that segment was basically done to put Roman Reigns over Braun Strowman and take Braun Strowman out of action for a bit. And then next was and I can't believe I'm saying it, it's probably one of the match of the night. It's this or Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe. It was the tag team turmoil match. Sheamus and Cesaro came out, took out Enzo and Cass. I'm just going to go through the order. Then they took out Heath Slater and Rhino. And then they took out Gallows and Anderson, and then took out Golden Truth. It was booked really well. Anderson and Gallows and Sheamus and Cesaro were going at it, and it really took a lot out of them. That was the story, and it kind of made it seem plausible that they might go with Golden Truth here. And honestly, I hope they kind of give Golden Truth a little bit of a push, give them some more credible wins, make them more credible as a tag team, because I feel like right now they're looked at as a joke, similar to Jinder Mahal on Smackdown. And actually, I'm starting to come around on Jinder Mahal a little bit. I don't like him in the ring, but at least as a character, he's plausible now. So kudos to WWE. I was a little wrong on that one. Hopefully he improves in the ring a little bit. But back to Raw. I would like to see more credible tag teams, at least until Revival comes back, because frankly the division needs it. But the story was Sheamus and Cesaro going through every tag team from beginning to end, and they looked really good. They were probably my first star of the night together. They did really good work, and then had a little interaction with the Hardys where they got out of the ring and did the whole "nah, not tonight, not dealing with you guys," whatever. It was good. I enjoyed that match. Then you had the Seth Rollins Samoa Joe match. A lot of the same stuff, but as per usual, they put on a pretty good match. Then you had the Gallagher and TJP match, and TJP went over and then attacked Gallagher. Nothing major there. And Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox. God, this was rugged. If this doesn't show up on Patrick's hot spots and worst, or total flops, whatever the name of the video is, he'll yell at me later. If that's not on one of the worst lists, he can just put a special category for this one. It was just terrible. And they botched the pin. Fox's shoulder was up, and they're just like, nope, whatever, let's keep going. Finally, you had Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt. Decent match, nothing major. You've seen it before. No Finn Balor appearance, which was weird. There was no Finn Balor-Bray Wyatt interaction after Bray Wyatt cost Finn Balor last week. So they really did a terrible job at the continuity with that storyline. They did good with Ambrose Miz. They did good with Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins, but just forgot about Bray Wyatt, Finn Balor, and that is very disappointing. Basically, the Miz ended with grabbing the IC belt and saying that he's going to win it. I believe next week on Raw is that match, and I actually do expect the title change there. Yeah, that was how Raw was. Originally I gave it a 4.5. I dropped it to a 4 when I really started thinking about it. It was just poor. If it weren't for the reason why it's as high as it is because there's a lot more wrestling this week, a lot more action, which I've always been a proponent of. But the matches weren't all that great. And like I said, they've missed out on Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt feud. I didn't like that. Then there's just some bad matches. And it was really only 2 matches that I enjoyed watching, and it just felt like the show dragged. Patrick gave it a 3 yesterday. Watch that review. It is up, and I know he's putting up his SmackDown review. So watch that as well. But yeah, Raw was just a really bad show, and I went into tonight's SmackDown. I am recording this, by the way, Tuesday night. and it's going to be posted Wednesday. So if you do hear me saying tonight's SmackDown, that is the reason. I just finished watching it. It was I went into it pretty much knowing it was going to win Battle of the Brands. This is not a tough one to predict, and I went into it tonight, and I enjoyed it. It was average, nothing special, but it definitely wasn't as terrible as Raw. Jinder Mahal, there was a big six-man tag match. Brazongo, I love these Fashion Police Law and Order skits that they're doing. They basically went in and were following Paint, thinking it was the Usos, and they found the Ascension doing some sort of circle jerk in the closet. I don't know what the hell they were doing. That led to a match later, but that was nothing major. You had some advancement in the women's match, basically announcing the six-women tag match at Backlash. Dolph Ziggler and Shinsuke had another altercation, and Dolph did a much better job this week, I thought. It wasn't anything majorly special, but overall, I enjoyed the promo. It wasn't something to write home about, but it definitely wasn't as bad as his previous weeks. I know he's been on worst promo 2 weeks in a row. I think he won't get third. He shouldn't get the third week in a row on Patrick's video. So if he's watching this, I don't agree with it. If you do give him worst promo, he did a pretty good job. We're all itching to see Shinsuke wrestle, so we got SmackDown in my hometown, Manchester, next week, so I will be there. Patrick will be there. We likely will be doing a dual SmackDown review in place of Battle of the Brands, so be on the lookout for that. There was a segment with Mojo Rawley that was basically pointless. I don't know, it's the curse of the 100th Battle Memorial Battle Royal, fucking that long ass title. Anyone who holds a trophy basically gets shoved to obscurity. That's how that goes. Not a whole lot of advancement with feuds. Pretty much announced what was already there for Backlash. Still no Daniel Bryan. I know Brie Bella's due to give birth, so he's not going to be on the show for a bit until that happens. No Shane McMahon. So basically, it's weird. It's like the Wild West. Like nobody's running SmackDown. Like just people just making their own matches, doing their own thing. We saw Shane McMahon last week, but nothing major. I don't think I saw him this week at all. So that's a little weird. But the main event was pretty good. I would say it's tough. It could go be the match of the week. Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins could fight for that title of match of the week. It could go either way. I'm very interested to see what Patrick thinks on that one. Overall, I gave SmackDown a 5.5. It was an average show. It's very typical SmackDown. Nothing major, but they did a pretty good job advancing some things. They didn't really make me want to turn off the TV, so that's a good start. Overall, though, the entire week, it was just not good television. I don't know if it was because it was taped. The crowd was definitely more into it on SmackDown. That was noticeable. It could be that it was just taped in London and just didn't have that same feel. I know going live, it's going to feel a lot better. I'm going to try not to put that and sway my rankings next week, but I know it'll probably be more entertaining next week. Overall, it's just poor, in my opinion. I really hope that they do a better job, especially on the SmackDown side. Raw had a really bad week, and I'll be curious to see how they do going forward. But with SmackDown, you got the pay-per-view coming up. You really have to hammer it home. I think Raw did a really poor job going into Payback. I'd like to see SmackDown do a much better job going into Backlash. So that's what I'm going to be looking out for. That was my Battle of the Brands. SmackDown wins this week in pretty handily fashion. And that's mostly because Raw was down, and all they had to do was kick them when they were down. But SmackDown wins. You take them how you get them. And that was Battle of the Brands. So like, subscribe, leave some comments, tell me what you thought about each show. Let me know what you want to see on the channel. We're looking to do more content on weekends, maybe do some second videos during the week. So let us know what you want to see. Check out Patrick's Raw and Smackdown review. Check out his total or hotspots and total flops coming up Thursday. And check out my news of the week coming out on Friday. And till next time, see ya.